Hello, I'm Diana Dalbotten, and I'm with the St. Anthony Falls Laboratory at the University of Minnesota. I'm part of the FE Diversity and Inclusion Working Group, and you can see here our other participants. I'm going to talk here about what we've been doing in our working group over the past year. First, we recognize that a diverse community brings different expertise and experience into ecological forecasting, which we see as a great benefit to the scientific community as a whole and to our particular ecological forecasting community. We're using an iterative approach, which we know works well for ecological forecasting, but we think it works well in diversity as well, where it's important to continually engage with different people, get input, and revise what we're doing, and hopefully then become a more diverse community. So when we started doing this, we were very interested in creating a strategic plan for FE diversity and inclusion initiatives. And our motivation for this is that we want to bring both our minds and our hearts into the work we're doing, but we want to do it in such a way that we can work from a position of knowledge and that we can create thus a good pathway for increasing diversity in the FE community. And we want to create concrete steps that we can take towards figuring out what the issues are, how to approach it, and how to get the job done. And we think this planned approach is what's needed in order to actually make progress towards our goals. So what we've been doing is that we've broken this down into steps. And step one is identifying and clarifying the problem. And that's both identifying barriers and potential solutions, and then figuring out what our specific objectives are. And one of the complications of our EFI community is that it's so multidisciplinary, and it brings in people from so many different majors and research areas. And so one of the things we've been trying to do is figure out what disciplines we need to look at when we're trying to figure out what diversity looks like within our group, statistically speaking. We know that we have a long way to go towards making our meetings more diverse. But figuring out exactly where we're at is a little more complicated. And it's one of the things we've been trying to do. We want to get good at statistics so that we can move forward from a knowledge base. And we also need to identify and read pertinent literature in the field of diversity and inclusion as it relates to the ecological forecasting, and then compile it and bring it to the community on our website. An important aspect of diversity is to be a diverse group that's working on diversity. And so one of the things we've been trying to do is identify who else should potentially be involved in the effort and make a plan to bring them in. And this is a step that probably should be done throughout the entire process of strategic planning and continually even as we move forward. And as you move along, hopefully you're becoming a more diverse group on this committee and also across FE. And we also need to involve all the members of our own community, and we need you to be involved. And we invite you to join us in this working group. And we have information later in the presentation about ways that you can be involved. And as we move forward, we're working to identify possible solutions and not just general solutions such as creating better curriculum or providing research experiences or getting scientists into the schools and all the other great ways that people work to support diversity. But we're also looking to identify solutions that particularly work for the forecasting community. And we're asking ourselves, what are some of the low-hanging fruit? What are some of the things that we're already doing? Where can we work together, combine our efforts, and make them more effective? And we want to know what's working, what's not working, what's being done, what hasn't been tried. We want to sort all these questions out so that as a community, we can work together to figure out what our next steps are. And finally, I think the goal is that we're moving forward to form new collaborations and seek funding to carry out programs that will actually make things happen. So where we are now, well, one of the things that we've been working on is a survey that was put together in the spring in order to identify what majors and disciplines are most pertinent to the ecological forecasting community right now. And if you haven't, you can help us by taking that survey. And I think we have a link to that on the next slide. And we've also begun compiling a list of resources, and you can contribute to this list on the EFI website, or you can also use the list to explore and do some of your own reading. We've been busy recruiting new members to our DEI committee, and so we're growing. We'd welcome your participation in that committee. And we have two new initiatives that we've launched. One is a DEI book club, and this month and next month we'll be reading Cast by Isabel Wilkerson. And then we're going to be having a seminar series called Conversations on Diversity and Data. We've already had our first session of that series, and we're going to be having our second session January 20 at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, and we hope that you can join us for that. So in order to take the doodle poll for future calls is shown here. You can contact the Eco Forecast Initiative. You can also find information on our website and take the survey. Thank you so much for joining us.